everyone, my name is Emma, but everyone calls me Snake because of my tongue. Just look at it. I also have a lot of piercings and tattoos. You're probably wondering what had happened. How did I become like this? Well, subscribe to the channel and listen to my story. Just a year ago, I looked quite different. I didn't have a single tattoo and I never dyed my hair. I went to college and was one of the best students there. I had always liked learning new things. I was also very interested in world history and spent almost all my time reading books. As you probably guessed already, I didn't have a boyfriend. Unfortunately, I wasn't beautiful. All the boys in my college preferred other girls over me. That made me very sad. Of course, my friends were so outstanding and cheeky. They wanted people to pay attention to them and did anything to achieve that. They wore revealing clothes, dyed their hair, and wore bold makeup. I couldn't do the same because of my mom. She was extremely strict and boring and hated everything provocative. She dressed very modestly, didn't wear any makeup, and wouldn't let me either. But I wanted guys to pay attention to me so much, and one day, I didn't ask her permission to dye my hair. As expected, my mother refused. I got angry with her and said that I would never find a boyfriend that way. To which my mother replied that what's inside is more important, and someday there will be a boy who will see my inner beauty. Someday? I didn't want to wait. I was determined to do what I wanted despite her. One day, I got my chance. After my second year of college, I went to Europe for the holidays. I was going to travel to several countries, but the most important thing was my plan. By that time, I had already watched a lot of videos on the internet, found out where and how tattoos were done, what piercings and body modification were. I had a bit of money with me, so when I arrived in the Netherlands, I immediately went to the coolest salon and got all the piercings and tattoos you had already seen. Are you wondering if it hurt? Absolutely. However, beauty requires sacrifice, and I really wanted to be irresistible. I spent the rest of the vacation lying in a hotel waiting for everything to heal so that I could remove the bandages. I looked at myself in the mirror and found that I liked my new appearance a lot. Of course, I was a little worried about my mother's reaction to all of it, but I was already an adult and could decide for myself what I wanted to look like. What followed was a complete nightmare. I went home and knocked on the door. My mother opened it, gave a startled cry, and shut it in my face. She hadn't recognized me. "Mom, it's me, your daughter," I said. She let me in and started crying. "Emma, my baby, what have you done?" She paced the room, clutching her heart, shouting and crying by turns. My mother couldn't believe it was real. I tried to convince her that it was my decision, and I felt more comfortable looking like that. I'd finally become the person I'd always wanted to be, and people started paying attention to me. By evening, my mother had calmed down, but she still startled every time she looked at me. The school year began, and I returned to college looking completely different. Oh, it was amazing. Everyone looked at me, talked to me, wanted to touch me. I finally got what I wanted. After a while, I became the most popular girl in college. I was never alone anymore. People were always hanging around me. A week later, I met Eric. He went to the same college as me, but we'd never talked before. And now he came up to me and said I looked really cool. Eric was a real party animal. He spent all of his free time at parties and knew all the places where the coolest people spent their time. We hung out a few times, and very soon, Eric became my boyfriend. He began bringing me to all the parties and introducing me to all sorts of interesting people. Naturally, my boyfriend and I immediately became the center of attention at any party. Everyone wanted to see and talk to me. Meanwhile, my mother still would not calm down. She simply couldn't get used to my new appearance. One day she sat me in the car and drove us to a clinic. It turned out she'd made an appointment with a doctor and asked him to remove all of my piercings and do something about my tongue. Of course I refused at once. How dare they force me into something like that? The doctor said he couldn't do anything without my consent. Since I was an adult, my opinion was the one that mattered. But my mother replied, "My daughter isn't right in the head. She doesn't know what she's doing." To which the doctor replied that in that case, she needed a psychologist's opinion. Only if I was declared insane would he be able to do something about my appearance. I was furious. I definitely hadn't expected my mother to do that. I resented her and didn't speak to her all the way back. As time went on, everyone in college got used to my appearance. They began to call me Snake and make fun of me. I didn't pay them any attention, although some of the jokes were very hurtful. But the most annoying thing was that my boyfriend Eric took part in all of it, especially at the parties we went to together. He did it to attract even more attention. Eric no longer acted like my boyfriend. Instead, he treated me like a fashion accessory. I realized that he didn't love me at all. To him, I was just a freak that he could brag about in front of his friends. That's why I didn't hesitate to break up with him. He wasn't even surprised, just smirked and left. I felt very sad. How could I have been so wrong about him? I thought he liked me as a person. What if everyone else only saw me as some crazy weirdo as well? What if I was just a clown to everyone and they were laughing behind my back? For the first time, I wished I hadn't done any of what I had to myself. Did you think my mother calmed down after we had gone to see the doctor? If only. She dragged me to a psychologist next. He gave me several tests and could only shrug. Your daughter is completely normal. Her mental health is fine. My mom looked lost and confused. She covered her face with her hands. The psychologist calmed her down, saying that there was nothing wrong with what I had done. It was all just a way of self-expression. It made me feel freer. My mother listened to him. I didn't say that I was beginning to regret what I'd done. Such news would have destroyed my mother. After I broke up with Eric and realized that everyone had just been laughing at me, I stopped appearing in public. After school, I would run straight home and spend all of my time reading or on the computer. I immersed myself in studying world history again and didn't want to see anyone. My mother had gone away somewhere at that time, so I spent all of my time alone. When I wanted to talk to someone, I visited a forum of history enthusiasts and found people there. That's how I met Gregory. He went to another college, but he also loved world history. We quickly found common ground. He was a very smart and interesting guy, one of the so-called nerds, but I didn't care. It was so easy to talk to Gregory, and he was really interested in my inner world, my personality. We started texting each other, and after a few days, grew very close. I even thought that Gregory could become my boyfriend. That's how happy I felt with him. He suggested we meet in real life. I was happy at first, but then I realized that it was a terrible idea. The thing is, Gregory looked like a completely ordinary guy. Girls didn't usually pay attention to guys like that, but I liked him. However, I'd never sent him a photo of myself, so he didn't know what I looked like. I was afraid that when he saw me look like that, he would be disappointed. But Gregory was so eager to meet me, and he said he had feelings for me. I was pretty sure I liked him too. That's when I firmly decided to return to my natural looks. I realized that I had made a mistake and was going to fix it. Hopefully modern medicine would be able to help me with that. I remembered the doctor my mother had taken me to. I was about to go to him. Suddenly, the door opened and my mother came in. I almost fainted. She had colorful hair, piercings on her face, and tattoos all over her neck. "Mom, what's happened to you?" was all I managed to say. My mother said that she thought about it for a long time and realized that she also wanted to try to change her looks. That's how she decided to support me. More than that, she even liked her new look. "Why hadn't I done it before? So many people started paying attention to me at once," she said enthusiastically. It was the end. I didn't go to the doctor, of course, and I couldn't tell my mom that all of the body modification wouldn't make her happier either. Her support only made things more difficult. What do you think I should do now? I can't tell my mom that I've changed my mind and want to go back to how I used to be. After all, she had made such a sacrifice for me. But I can't keep looking like this either because I want to be with Gregory. I'm so lost. Write in the comments, what would you do in my place?